Recently, I've been hanging out with a lot of people that, aren't the greatest for me, but it seems to just be a part of our culture. They're just people that, they go out and do things that are fun, and you know, I enjoy doing some of those things, like going out to little meetups and little parties, even if, they might be like a little janky or something, but it's like I'm not really like that. A lot of these people around where I live, they want to be like that. They want to act hard. But for me, I'm sweet. I'm sweet. I was raised in a good household, and it's like I'm not a part of any of that. But it's like I keep getting involved with people that do want to do that. The other day, I had a gun pointed at me just because I was driving someone. I've known this person for years, and I've just slowly watched his life just become super unstable, and it just keeps like almost validating his mindset of like I'm like that, like his life's just very unstable, so he has to act in this certain way. And what I don't get is like how do females find him attractive? And it's like I that's one thing I don't understand is like how do girls find this behavior attractive? This guy's life is super unstable to the point where he almost got himself shot and killed just because of things he's done in the past. Yet he gets all the attention. The loudest one, he's usually the loudest one in the room. He gets all the attention, as opposed to someone like me, you know. I literally have I have so much going for me, but I don't act in that way because what reason do I have to do that? I have a stable life, I am going to college. I have lots of things going for me, but it's like no one will bat an eye my way. Why is that? I just think it's really a part of our culture. And, I'm not saying this about like everyone, but it's like, I think one of the main things is social media, and you're always comparing yourself to other people or what you could have. It's like girls have like, they'll see like certain lifestyles online, and it's like that's what they want. They expect like someone to provide that for them, and it's like if not that, it's whatever they find attractive, and I guess people that are unstable and act in an unpredictable way, that can be violent, you never know what they're going to do. Like they find that attractive, maybe they could protect them, if something were to happen, so that's attractive to them. But it's a little concerning because you don't know what they're going to do. People like this person almost got himself shot and me shot just for driving him. You know, you don't know what he's capable of. People like that. What are they capable of? So I just think it's a little concerning the effect social media has had, and then I also think like the looks maxing movement, or everything's about looks, and while to a certain degree it's true, you'll have a slightly easier time, you'll have an easier life, get more opportunities if you are attractive. But everyone's trying so hard to do that, they lose focus of everything else, what truly actually matters, right? And they think that's the only thing that matters, which, I can see how people can argue that, but I don't truly believe that's all that matters. I think it's important to get you to go places, and I think it's important that you work on yourself in, physical ways and mental ways as well. They kind of go hand in hand. Having a good personality will get you there. Or no, having good looks will get you there, and having good personality will get them to stay. But a lot of these people, like a lot of people I know, they're even me alone. It's just, I personally feel invisible towards women. I've gone on all these dating apps. I have a professional camera. I have really good pictures of myself, but you know, I'm not the most someone could get. They could get someone taller than me. They could get someone with more money than me. I'm only 5'5". Why go for me? I'm short. You know, And it's like, you have to argue my personality. And I don't even look too bad. I try to keep myself up there, but I'm not sure. I just don't understand why women go for these violent wannabe thugs, but it's almost the reality. That's just how it is right now in our culture. It sucks. I don't know. It's just the loudest people, the most unstable people get the most attention. This job market's cooked. So the dating market's pretty cooked, especially for kids that like just turn 18 like me. Yeah, it's like what's even the point of going for someone, And like my dad and I were having a discussion earlier about the job market too. It's from his perspective, a lot of the Gen Zs just don't have that incentive to work anymore. Your households are out of reach, right? In terms of pricing to like working, and it's harder to get jobs even getting out of college. So it's like, what realistically do you do, And then just getting a job right now is hard. And I have experience with trying to get a job. It took me, 90 applications just to get a job at a shitty pizza place. And then I got fired after the first 30 days because all of them wanted more hours, and I was the newest one. That's pretty much what they told me too. Not the actual manager himself, but when I was texting someone in the group chat in private, they were like, yeah, everyone just kind of was like, I don't know. Don't really see him sticking around. They all want more hours, so they kind of just kicked you. I don't know, man. It's just like, I feel like the internet's where it's at, but it's also, it's like, it can be the solution just as much as it's the problem. That's what I truly think. You can make a bunch of money if you focus on creating things, then it can be the solution. You can get the money, you can get the status, You can get all of that if you're the one creating. But if you consume too much, you will get consumed by social media. You will compare yourself constantly to other people, and that's super damaging. It's a very double-edged sword, and you need to learn how to balance it and how to use it to your advantage, right? Instead of just staying at home scrolling all day, it's going to fuck with you, But if you're the one that starts to actually create, then that can help you so much in the long run, especially in the job market that we're in right now, in my opinion. And I know I'm not too consistent with posting on social media, but I want to get there because I don't see any other way for me. My talents are in the arts. My talents are in drawing, music. My talents are in, everything but blue and white collar jobs, right? I'm a musician. I'm someone who expresses their emotions, someone who tells stories. That's what I'm good at. It's very hard, but this is the way that you get it out there to people, is by expressing yourself and talking, right? That's how you get people to know you, and that's what's really important to build an audience. You got to find people that resonate with you, and that takes time with the algorithm, but if you're consistent with it, then eventually it's bound to happen one day or another. Every single time you post, it's a lottery ticket that you just put out for free. That's a pretty common phrase, but I truly believe in that. I posted a video about anime, and it has 3,000 likes. That's the most I've ever gotten. It was a minute long, too. A minute long. 200 comments, 500 saves on TikTok. And even on Instagram, it performed well. And it was just me doing these talking head videos like this. I just clipped it from one of my long YouTube videos. And it's like, wow, a bunch of people related to me about this topic about romance anime. So you have to find things that are relatable, and that will help you out in the long run. That was like a lottery ticket that I put out. I wasn't confident that was going to get any views, but somehow it did. That was the one I least expected to get views, because it's almost embarrassing to the average person, but there's people out there where they feel the same way. Like, it's almost embarrassing, but then they find someone to validate their feelings, and it's like, wow. and that's the ones that you least expect, boom. It's genuinely such a great opportunity. But like I said, you need to figure out the balance between consuming and creating. You don't want to consume so much it consumes you. And creating, you want to put in, I think creating is just one of the greatest things you can do for yourself. You can make so much expression. You can get people to relate to you, and there's no better feeling than that. So I think creating every day, at least for me, is what's going to get me through the next few years. I have a space for it now. And yeah. Oh yeah, also I'm going to give a tour of my new little studio setup. I love recording music. I've got a bunch of DIY stuff. It's not perfect or anything, but it's pretty cool. I have all my lights, and it's kind of a mix between like almost like a streamer setup, but a music studio at the same time. My next steps for sure are definitely to get a better microphone. I want a high-end microphone, like a Telefunken or a Neumann, something in that like $2,000 range, but I don't know really where to go and test out those kind of microphones, but like for music, that'd be great for me. But, and then definitely a better interface as well. I want to get an Apollo, and I think that would have me set. Maybe some speaker stands, but other than that, I've made some DIY gobos, sound treatment, and, maybe get some ceiling treatment in the future too, but it's not bad where I'm at, and I'm at a point where I can create literally every single day. I have no more excuses. I have a whole entire room dedicated just to this. So it's all I have to do is click post. And I can just yap about whatever I want. I can make music about whatever I want. It's great. Anyways, so yeah.